It may seem strange to y'all that here I am, a colored woman and a slave. Well, for the first part of my life anyway. A slave, I mean. Obviously, I'm still colored. But the strange part, that I'm the one who's going to be telling you about probably the most famous lady, the most famous white lady who ever lived in Edgefield. Well, besides that Rebecca Cotton woman, she was famous for all the wrong reasons. The lady I'm referring to is Mrs. Lucy Holcomb Pickens. But she was just Miss Lucy to me. Now, it makes perfect sense to me that I'm the one who's going to be telling the story, seeing as how I know Miss Lucy about all my life. And I suppose all of her life, too. I guess I should have introduced myself to y'all. My name is Lucinda. I was born a slave in Texas, trained up as a lady's maid and companion, and I was given to Miss Eugenia Hunt, Miss Lucy's mother, in 1849. When Miss Lucy got married in April of 1858, her mom and daddy gave me to her as a wedding present. Now, I wasn't a typical slave. I could read and write and was taught proper English. I could speak pretty good French too, but seeing as how this is about Miss Lucy and not me, I guess that's another story for another day. I spent more time with Miss Lucy than anyone else in the world. That's why I feel confident being the one to tell y'all about her. See, Miss Lucy wasn't what most folk would call a typical Southern belle. She was a young lady with a mind of her own, and she liked to use it. Maybe that came from her going to that Yankee school up in Pennsylvania. Most likely, it was just who she was. Most folk felt one of two ways about Miss Lucy. Some felt she was the sweetest, most caring and fun-loving young lady there ever was. Others believed she was a selfish, shallow little heifer who only wanted money and social position. I think Miss Lucy was a little bit of both. We all have a bit of the light and a bit of the darkness in us. It just depends on the day which side of us comes out. One thing they all agreed on was that Miss Lucy was the epitome of Southern beauty. Men were drawn to her like bees to the honey pot. So despite having that strong, intelligent mind and an opinion on just about everything which proper-bred white ladies weren't supposed to have, Miss Lucy's hand was highly sought after by gentlemen folk, young and old. Now, when she was young, Miss Lucy wasn't too set on giving up her hand. She wanted to captain her own ship, so to speak, and marriage would have put an end to that, at least back in our day. But betwixt you and me, not wanting to get married is one thing. Thinking you won't ever fall in love is another. That's the story I want to tell y'all about. Because it's the part of Miss Lucy's life most folk don't know. Y'all know who she married. What you don't know is who she loved.
Isn't it divine to finally be home? 3 years of school behind us, no more afternoon love feast, no more bed the cold winters with your acid toes pressed against me every night, no more of listening to Alice Stanton's never-ending proselytizing on that Yankee suffragette, Susan B. Anthony. Miss Anthony says this, Miss Anthony says that, Miss Anthony says such and such. One would think they were raised from the cradle together the way Alice spoke of her, whilst in truth she's never even met her.
Well, I shall miss the love feasts. I found them to be most enjoyable. However, I do agree with you regarding those winters.
Love feast. Nothing more than a pretentious title for afternoon tea. I believe that something called a love feast should be something that's so vile and wicked it's simply not spoken of in polite society.
Lucy, that's vulgar and common. Mother would faint if she knew you had such notions swirling around your head, let alone spoke them out loud. I declare I don't know where you come by these ill-bred ideas.
It's because you never participated in Eleanor Willoughby's late-night gatherings in the upstairs salon. If you would have been adventurous enough to sneak out of our room after curfew, You would have been privy to some highly informative discussions on the intimate relations between men and women. I found them to be most descriptive.
Well, if that was the topic of conversation, then I am content to have remained in our bedroom, where I belonged.
Europeans have a much less repressed way on thinking on the matters of marital relations. Did you know it is actually quite common for men and women to engage in love affairs after they're married? And sometimes, even with the spouse's knowledge and consent. When Penny Johnson expressed her concern with such a notion, Eleanor told her that to the British, our American views on fornication are considered quite constipated.
Lucy Petway Holcomb, I am shocked at how that foul word just rolled off your tongue.
Which word? Fornication or constipated? If the Bible speaks of fornication, then it can't be that bad of a word. Therefore, I feel free to use it. Now, constipated. That's a foul word in a very unpleasant condition.
What would you know what the Bible speaks to? You don't attend church often enough to know what's in the Bible. You certainly didn't pay attention to Reverend Schultz's sermons at school the past 3 years. And I do not believe for 1 minute that you would feel so free as to use that word in the presence of mother and father.
I can't imagine an opportunity to use that word that would ever present itself. What was that, Betty? Mother, I didn't realize you were standing there.
Obviously not. Now, what word is it that you feel you would not have the opportunity to use in my or your father's presence? I am quite intrigued.
Well, it's a word that Anna believes you will find highly inappropriate for me to utter, and therefore I would become the recipient of your disapproval. But, being the obedient daughter that I am, I will utter it with the hope that you will not take offense. The word, dearest mother, is suffragette.
Oh, well, your sister, as I have stated in the past, is older and therefore wiser. And you should listen to her, for in this regard, she is correct. However, you are as well, for there is not a conversation I can imagine partaking of that would include that word or topic.
But mother, I know you believe in educating women. Why else would you send us to school up in Yankee country where educating females is almost as common as educating men? If the goal is to cultivate intelligence, then doesn't it follow that a woman, upon discovering she has intelligence, should use her intelligence independently and freely like men do?
You were sent to school to gain grace, eloquence, maturity, and to study those subjects that would confer upon you the mark of gentility, whose intelligence and poise would be an asset to her future husband and benefit her in the raising of her children. It was not to masculinize your thought processes, to gain entrance into the areas that are the domain of men, and to decry the sacred institution of marriage. That Anthony woman, oh yes, I'm aware of who she is, and have heard the most unsavory tales of her suffragette exploits in the North. She, my darling child, is not a woman for you to admire nor emulate, nor should you unsex yourself by embracing her misguided cause. Let us speak no more on this subject. I came to tell you that Colonel Greer has invited a guest for supper this evening. I trust you will remember your upbringing, Petty, and not burden him with your progressive ideas. Excuse me, girls, I need to find Seela and make sure she's set an extra place at the supper table.
I suppose if a woman wishes to wear blue stockings, And she must contrive to let her petticoats hide them. What is the point of having a strong mind, as all my tutors say I possess, and the confidence to use it, if doing so will cast me as quick-minded and uncouth, and therefore socially undesirable? I see nothing wrong in being independent and free-thinking. In truth, Anna, I find the thought of being a wife and a mother more suffocating than a corset that's laced too tightly.
Oh, Lucy, it's only because you haven't yet experienced true love. When you find the one that makes your heart flutter with just a look, whose kiss upon your hand leaves you breathless, whose presence fills the room with light when he's in it and dims perceivably when he leaves, well, then you will not feel so, I promise you.
You honestly feel that way about Colonel Greer? Certainly he's charming and well-mannered and comes from a very good family and has a promising career as a lawyer. But Anna, surely you've heard the whispers of his fits of temper and his wild ideas. Does that not concern you?
Of course I've heard the whispers. But you know men, when they're in the presence of other men, portray a different countenance, perhaps a coarser mannerism than they would when they're in the presence of a lady. I should expect Elkanah is no different. However, he's been nothing but a perfect gentleman to me, and to you, as well as mother. I found nothing in his behavior to reproach, nor do I expect to once we're married.
You really want to marry him?
Of course I do. I'm nearly 20 years old, Lucy. It's time for me to set aside girlish foibles and daydreams and begin life as a grown woman. I can't imagine a better match, and I look forward to a life of unimaginable happiness with Elkanah and our children, should God bless us so.
Miss Anna, Colonel Greer and his gentleman friend have arrived. They're in the front hall.
That's fine, Lucinda. Show them in here.
What do you know of Colonel Greer's friends?
Very little, I'm afraid. He sent a note by messenger earlier asking if he might bring a guest to stand with him to supper tonight. I believe he's a fellow soldier, but beyond that, I really don't know.
It'd have been nice to have some new company. It's been ever so dull here lately with Thea away at school. How I miss his sweet face and that wicked sense of humor.
Our dear little brother may not be gone for long if he refuses to take his studies more seriously. I pray Theodore's cavalier mannerism and inconsistency of character will be left behind once he reaches manhood.
He suffers the hubris of youth like many young boys that are coming of age. I'm confident he'll return to us the epitome of a Southern gentleman after his schooling's complete.
Ah, Miss Lucy, how wonderful to see you again. I think you've grown even prettier while I was away. My dearest Anna, I've been counting the minutes until I can once again feast my eyes upon your beautiful face. One day outside of your presence is an eternity.
Elkanah, I am so pleased you have returned. Please forgive our rudeness. Elkanah, won't you make the introductions?
My apologies, Billy. I'm sure you understand. And may I introduce Colonel William Crittenden of Kentucky. Billy, this is my lovely fiancée, Miss Anna Holcomb.
Colonel Crittenden, it is lovely to make your acquaintance. I'm very pleased you could join us for dinner tonight.
The pleasure is mine, Miss Holcomb.
And this doe-eyed siren is Anna's little sister, and will soon become my little sister as well. Miss Lucy, this is Colonel William Crittenden. Billy, meet Miss Lucy Holcomb, who has left a trail of broken hearts from Tennessee to Texas. Take care she doesn't add yours to her collection.
I'm afraid my future brother-in-law exaggerates. I'm not quite sure I was old enough to break hearts when we left Tennessee. Welcome to Wyalusing.
Miss Holcomb, I'm delighted to make your acquaintance.
Colonel, perhaps you'd like to visit the garden before supper. I suspect our company will not be missed.
I suspect you're right. It would be my pleasure, Miss Holcomb.
Anna dear, I thought I'd show the Colonel our garden. Anna dear!
Yes, Lucy?
I thought I'd show the Colonel our garden. Do you mind?
I think that's a lovely idea. Isn't that a lovely idea, Elkanah?
I think it's a wonderful idea.
How are you acquainted with Elkanah, Colonel Crittenton?
We both served during the Mexican War. Different regiments, of course, but our paths crossed numerous times and we became friends. After the war, I resigned my commission, but we retained the friendship.
And I believe he says you hail from Kentucky?
Yes, my grandfather, John Crittenton, was a major with the Virginia militia during the Revolution, and afterwards became one of the first settlers in Kentucky. My family has lived there since, except my uncle, who currently resides in our nation's capital.
That's exciting. What does he do there? Is he a politician? I find politics fascinating.
He has served as both governor of Kentucky and a senator from Kentucky in the past. Currently, he's the Attorney General.
Attorney General of Kentucky?
No, Miss Holcomb, Attorney General of the United States.
Heavens, Colonel, what an illustrious family you have. Now, what is it that you do? Please do not tell me you are the current governor of Kentucky. I shall die of embarrassment from not knowing.
Nothing so grand, I'm afraid, but perhaps you'll find equally as worthy. I'm currently in service with General Narciso Lopez, who is currently planning an expedition to Cuba to free it from the tenacious grip of Spain, who for far too long has subjugated its natives to harsh laws and inhumane torture.
Well, I've read about General Lopez. He's already attempted an expedition to Cuba, has he not? Two, in fact, and neither was successful, as I recall.
Well, yes, that is true, unfortunately. General Lopez has not found the right leadership for these expeditions. He has not been able to persuade our government to sanction an invasion of Cuba. In truth, because when he succeeds, he intends to annex Cuba to the United States as slaveholding provinces. So the general and those of us dedicated to the cause of Southern expansion are left to our own devices to recruit like-minded Southerners and Cuban rebels and exiles to accomplish this goal.
I fear I must tell you, Colonel. My papa has very strong feelings about what you and General Lopez are attempting to do without the president's support. He calls y'all filibusters and mercenaries, and even on one or two occasions, pirates. But I disagree with him. What life is more sublime than one given to a nation struggling for the principles of moral and political freedom?
Well, not to worry, Miss Holcomb. I've been called far worse, and yet here I still stand, ready to fight another day.
Forgive my interruption. Anna felt we had left you two alone long with the propriety allows and sent me out here to chaperone. I hope you have been enjoying your stroll in the garden.
Why, yes, we have. It's been most enlightening. Tell me, Elkanah, are you aware of Colonel Crittenton's convictions toward Cuba? Are you in agreement with the concept of Southern expansion?
Of course I am. Each state must be free to decide its own fate. Is that not what it says in the Constitution?
When Anna and I attended that school up in Pennsylvania, there were some classmates who strongly disagreed with us having slaves. Some were quite rude in their disapproval, as if we two girls were to blame personally for the institution of slavery.
You have proven my point, Miss Lucy. Thank you. It is impossible for those in the North to know what is right and proper for those living in the South. The very notion indeed. How can Southerners in good conscience stay united with this damnable interference from Northerners? The simple answer is we cannot. We need to establish a federation of slaveholding states. A golden confederacy stretching far into the reaches of Central America.
Elkanah, have you agreed to take part in this expedition?
Why would you think that, Miss Lucy? You know I am working as a lawyer now.
I fear I must tell you, Elkanah, our papa has very strong feelings about what we've been discussing. So strong that I fear if he knew you planned to join forces with General Lopez, he would withdraw his consent for you to marry Anna. He will think you a pirate and not nearly respectable enough to claim his daughter's hand. I beg you, Elkanah, leave this folly to another. Poor Anna will never recover by her truthful ending. She will pine away until death claimed her. Believe me, I know her heart well.
A man must do what a man must do.
Trust me, Miss Holcomb, Elkane is but a dedicated Southern gentleman who merely supports the cause from a side view. His passion is admirable, to be sure. However, he has no intentions of leaving his lovely fiancée to take part in some adventurous fancy.
I pray you are right, Colonel, for my sweet sister's happiness depends on it.
Elkanah, dearest, Papa would like a word with you before supper. Colonel, Lucy, perhaps you'd care to join Mother and me in the front parlor?
Why, yes, we'll be in directly. How I envy you, Colonel. To have the ability to seek out adventure, the freedom to choose which direction life takes without asking permission from anyone. I'm 18 years old and still under the rule of my parents. Every decision I make must be approved by them, as if I'm some prized mare that can't be trusted to be ridden without a bit. It's the same for Anna, though soon her reins will pass to Elkanah. Is it any wonder I have no wish to marry, despite my mother's insistence that we stop planning my societal debut? What's a day to you anyway? Nothing more than a fancy marriage auction to announce to all and sundry. It's time to offload my daughter. Let the bidding begin. Do you find this shocking, Colonel Crittenden?
I find you fascinating, Miss Holcomb. Never have I met a woman so definite in her opinions and so willing to declare them, social custom be damned. You are a rare breed of woman, Miss Holcomb. Feminine charm and a quick, intelligent mind make an intoxicating combination.
How you do flatter me, Colonel.
I only speak the truth. There are men in this world not merely seek an ornamental puppet on their arm. There are men who desire a wife who could be a confidant, whose intelligence complements his own, who shares his vision of what the future can be and has the strength of character to pursue that vision with him. Perhaps, Miss Holcomb, you are opposed to marriage because you have yet to encounter such a man.
Perhaps.
I shall be staying with Elkanah for the next several months until his wedding, though my responsibility is to take me to New Orleans periodically. If I may be so bold, I should like your permission to call on you while I'm here. I would very much like to get to know you better.
Isn't it my father's permission you should be asking?
I wouldn't dare ask his permission before I obtained yours, Miss Holcomb. The reins are firmly in your hands.
And how I do appreciate a man who pays attention. And please, won't you call me Lucy? Lucinda! I need mittens, or maybe gloves. This shawl is much too plain. I need one of my lace ones.
Miss Lucy, you have changed dresses and gloves and shawls more times than I can count. And Mr. Billy will be here any minute.
I know. And when he walks through that door and gazes upon me in this dress, I want him to lose his heart all over again, so I must look perfect. Black or white?
It doesn't matter what I say, because you're just going to change your mind again as soon as I walk out of this room.
Don't be impudent. I'm asking for your help.
Now, Miss Lucy, you know it doesn't matter if you were wearing a burlap bag over your petticoat. You know you're still going to look beautiful. And Mr. Billy doesn't care what you're wearing. He loves you, and he just wants to see you.
It's him! It's him, Lucinda! Quickly, answer the door!
Was mine not the face you were expecting to see? I'm sorry, Lucy.
In truth, I was hoping for one that was much more masculine. But you, dear sister, are always a welcome sight. Though I didn't expect to see you until supper. Please, sit down. Do you care for anything? Tea, perhaps? Lucinda.
I'm acting as messenger. Elkanah ran to fetch Billy. The meeting ran over long or something of that nature. Wasn't privy to the details, but they should be along directly.
The waiting is agony. I feel as though I shall explode if William does not enter this room immediately. That handsome face and that beautiful smile are all I can think about. Oh, why, sister,
How odd. I was thinking of that very conversation as well. Only now I'm beginning to wonder if your words carried more weight and truth than mine.
What do you mean?
I simply wonder if the expectations of love and marriage and the reality of love and marriage are cut from different cloths is all.
Anna, what has happened? You were so happy when you married Elkanah. Tell me, what is going on?
Lucy, so much has happened in 6 months, I don't know where to begin.
Thank you, Lucinda. I'll pour.
Yes, ma'am.
Now you must tell me all.
Lucy, marriage is not at all what I imagined it would be. Elkanah has changed, and almost from the moment we said our vows. Do you remember how I took ill on our honeymoon trip to Tennessee to visit my new in-laws? Well, instead of waiting for me to recover, Elkanah left me with them and went on to Natchez alone. He went to concerts and operas. He even attended a concert of that Swedish songstress Jenny Lind, knowing how I longed to hear her sing. He even had the audacity to view a nude statue. Nude! Something called the Greek slave. I thought I would die of shame when he told me, and he became so angry when I questioned whether that was something a gentleman should do. I spent my honeymoon with my husband's parents, Lucy, not my husband. And he showed no remorse. No remorse at all in leaving me. And he's gone from home all the time.
He believes none of us knows that.
Of course I know that. I know men, even gentlemen, have vices, but at least Papa is discreet. Elkanah will visit saloons and gambling houses in broad daylight when he's supposed to be at his office. Can you imagine how humiliating it was for me the first time Mary Raven from the Ladies' Aid Society felt compelled to inform me of my husband's behavior, and in the middle of our meeting? I should like to have died right then and there, rather than be subject to the expressions of derision on some faces and sympathy on others. In truth, I'm not sure which is worse.
He feels there's no further reason to delay.
So the regiments you've been waiting on, they've arrived.
Well, no.
William, that's 600 soldiers. Why would you want to leave without your recruits?
There's something else. The reason I was delayed was because I had just learned at the custom house that the federal government plans to impound our ship. If that happens, this expedition is over before it begins. General Lopez believes we cannot risk any further delays to wait for the recruits. So he says that we can fill in the gaps with Cubans and send the recruits as reinforcements later. But the general equipment disagrees. He feels the timing is wrong, that the Cubans are not in active revolt and their assistance is not guaranteed. Their quarrel almost came to blows.
But what is it that you believe?
I believe General Lopez knows the minds of the Cuban people. I trust his judgment.
William, the regiments from Kentucky and Indiana ought to be your troops to command. I understand why General Lopez feels the need to leave, but why would he want you to accompany him empty-handed? It makes no sense.
Well, I won't be empty-handed. For the next 2 days, I'll be recruiting locals, and they'll come with me.
Locals? Dear Lord, William, you're going to take dock workers and fishermen instead of trained soldiers? That's a madness.
Lucy, my sweet, we have so little time before I leave. Do you really want to spend it discussing military strategy? Let's speak of more pleasant pursuits. I was thinking we could plan our own expedition to Cuba after her liberation. Wouldn't you love to see the island queen for yourself?
You know I long to see that magical place with my own eyes. But I believe we have to have a chaperone, and Anna and Elkanah will be busy with other diversions.
We wouldn't need a chaperone if you accompanied me as my wife.
William?
Miss Lucy Holcomb, my heart has belonged to you ever since that first evening we walked in the gardens at Wahoo-Lucy. I pray that you will never want to return it. And there is no greater honor you could do me than if you consented to be Mrs. William Crittenden. Share my life with me, Lucy, and make me the happiest and luckiest man in the world.
Yes, my darling, yes! I never wanted anything more!
Forgive me for not having an engagement ring to present you, but I know you well enough to know that you'd want to pick that out yourself. I promise it'll be the first thing we do when I return from Cuba.
Well, of course I want to pick it out for myself.
Lucy Holcomb who never wanted to get married?
She found you.
Lucy! Lucy! Oh, Miss Anna, I'm so glad you're here.
Where is she? Where's Lucy?
She went down to that telegraph office first thing this morning. Oh, Miss Anna, she's been gone for hours. I don't believe she even slept at all last night. I could hear her walking from room to room, back and forth, back and forth. Ever since yesterday when Mr. Elkanah told her about Mr. Billy being taken prisoner, she hasn't sat down. She's been running around here like a chicken with his head cut off. She didn't have any supper last night, and she lit out of here this morning before I could fetch her a breakfast tray. I wanted to go with her, Miss Anna, but she told me to stay here in case a messenger came by. There'd be someone here to receive it.
Well, Elkanah's with General Equipment right now. They're hoping to receive news from the American consulate in Cuba today.
Miss Anna, I am so worried about her. I've never seen Miss Lucy like this before. It's like her mind is going to come unhinged.
Well, she's prostrate with worry, Lucinda. It's the not knowing that's weighing on her so. Poor Billy. Oh, thank God Elkanah stayed behind. He'd be in jail right beside him.
But now that you're here, Miss Anna, what should I do? Should I go look for him?
You need to calm down, Lucinda. My sister's going to need you for comfort and support. Elkanah told me it's possible Billy could stand trial in Cuba. If he is convicted, he could be in prison for many years. If he is able to return to the States, he could face charges and a trial here as well. Either way, I think it'll be a very long time before Billy and Lucy are reunited. I'm not sure how she'll act when she realizes that.
Did anybody come by while I was gone? Were there any messages?
No, Miss Lucy.
Are you sure? Did you leave even just for a moment?
No, Miss Lucy.
I promise I won't be mad, but you must tell me. Is there a chance that someone came by and you simply didn't hit a knock?
No, Miss Lucy. I stayed right here, just like you told me to do.
Lucinda, I want you to find the innkeeper and see if he has any brandy or cognac. Tell him it's needed for medicinal purposes. Quickly, hurry.
Yes, ma'am.
Lucy, I need you to sit down. Lucy! Sit. Now, darling, worrying yourself sick is not going to help Billy. You have to take care of yourself. You have to be brave and have faith and be strong.
Why? Why, Anna? Why did they leave with such few men? I knew it wasn't enough. I told him it wasn't enough. Against William's wishes, I even told General Lopez it wasn't enough men when I danced with him the other night. And he laughed at me. Laughed at me and told me not to worry my pretty little head. Pretty little empty head, he meant.
Lucy, dear, please.
Did Elkanah tell you? William was cut off with 50 men. He was surrounded and they wouldn't send reinforcements. They refused. Why wouldn't they send reinforcements? How could they leave William there alone? Helpless. My William sits in a foreign jail and General Lopez is free. May God send him to the pits of hell! I sent a cable to William's uncle. I told you he's the Attorney General, didn't I? Surely he can persuade the President to intervene. Don't you agree? He's his uncle. He has to help him. Wasn't he? Of course. Of course. William's going to be all right. I know he's going to be all right.
Lucy, come sit down. Lucy! Sit. Here, I want you to drink this. No, drink all of it. Now, darling, I need you to try to lie down and get some rest.
No.
Lucy, you are exhausting yourself. There's nothing you can do. I promise you, the minute any news arrives, I'll come for you. Lucinda, put Lucy to bed. Go on, dear mom. Come, Miss Lucy. Yeah?
Careful now.
Go answer the door, Lucinda.
I was with General Equipment. When he received the cable about Billy, I came as quickly as I could.
Was it from his uncle? Is he going to help him?
No, Lucy, he's not. The president refused to get involved, but the general just received another cable. It was from the American consulate in Cuba. I'm afraid it's not good news.
William's gonna have to stand trial. That's what you've come to tell me. My William's going to prison, isn't he?
No, Lucy. You won't have to stand trial. I deeply regret to inform you that Billy was executed this morning.
All at arm's length. But Miss Lucy, she wasn't quite done with being in love yet. No ma'am and no sir. And just like that first time, love came calling when she wasn't even looking for it.
Whatever are you doing here? I was under the impression you were taking the air on a buggy ride with Mr. Gerard. Are you ill?
No, but Mr. Gerard believes I am.
Well, whatever would he believe that?
I suppose it's because that's what I told him.
You deliberately deceived him? Lucy, I am very disappointed in your behavior. You graciously accepted Mr. Gerard's invitation yesterday. I expected daughter of mine to follow through on her commitments.
The only reason I graciously accepted was because he had the audacity to ask me in a crowded room full of people. I have no doubt he did that intentionally, knowing my good southern breeding would prevent me from refusing and slapping him down like the annoying gnat he is.
As I recall, you did not find Mr. Gerard so annoying while you attempted to gain his assistance with getting your manuscript published.
In truth, Mother, yes, I did. However, his connection to DeWitt and Davenport Publishing was invaluable to me, and therefore worth the price of suffering through his declarations of affection and flattering his already expanded opinion of himself. He was a means to an end, nothing more.
Now that the end has been accomplished and you are published authoress, I should think you could find it within yourself to express some gratitude.
Gratitude? I should be grateful he refers to my manuscript as our little book. Whatever gratitude Mr. Gerard deserves has been more than compensated for, thanks to dear Papa's generosity. I'm sure he'll be counting his gratitude when he head back to New York in a few hours. And I swear, if he calls me Lulu one more time before he leaves, I will not be able to contain myself, and I will snatch him bald-headed.
This mercenary element to your nature is most unbecoming, Penny. Your husband will not appreciate it, I promise you that.
My husband? Why, Mother, whenever did I enter the matrimonial place? And who, pray tell, is the lucky groom? Perhaps I should have paid more attention during the ceremony.
And I do not appreciate your ill-bred attempt at humor, young lady. Of late, I find your manner of conversation towards me to be bordering on disrespectful and insolent. You know perfectly well I was referring to your husband in a future tense.
My sincere apologies, Mother. I did not mean any disrespect. Truly, I do not. But, Mother, I have emphatically stated numerous times over the past many years that I have no desire to be married. Yet you continuously disregard my declarations as though I haven't even spoken.
Colonel Crittenden is gone, Lucy. Well, I do admire the capacity with which you commit to a beloved friend. Isn't it long past time to end your mourning and move forward with the other avenues of life you should be pursuing?
William has been dead 4 years, Mother. I stopped mourning the loss of my beloved friend a long time ago. If you recall, I had no wish to marry before I met him, and I still have no wish to marry after knowing him. It's quite simple. I just do not want to be married.
My darling child, I don't understand this opposition to marriage. You are 22 years old, Lucy. What do you suppose will become of you without a husband? Spinsterhood is not an easy way of life unless one is financially independent, which you, my pet, are not. A gentleman who is of good breeding and financial stability and social standing, well, he will ensure you a life of contentment, perhaps even happiness, and he will maintain the lifestyle you are accustomed to.
Do you suppose Anna's happy? Even just content?
Anna chose to ignore certain inconsistencies of character that would have been concerning to someone who was less infatuated and more observant. It's not a mistake I can imagine you ever making, for you've never been ruled by your emotions the way many young women are. However did this conversation become so melancholy? Since it appears we will not be enjoying Mr. Gerard's company at supper, perhaps you will be more agreeable to sharing the table with a new acquaintance of your father's?
As long as it's not a suitor disguised as an acquaintance.
Good heavens, no. He's a railroad worker of all things. I cannot imagine what possessed your father to invite him.
Does a railroad man have a name?
Oh, Mr. Fleming Gardner. Yes, that's it.
My apologies, Miss Holcomb. I fear my company has been thrust upon you by your father's sudden attack of stomach upset. You're welcome to full propriety. If you have no desire of extending our conversation, I can take my leave. I do hope Mr. Holcomb has not come down with a serious illness.
It's quite all right. Papa's stomach upset was caused by an overindulgence of Aunt Viney's sausage and rice. Our cook tends to use a heavy ham with her flavorings, which Papa loves, but often doesn't set well with him later on. He'll be fine. Mother knows exactly what concoction to make to ease his discomfort. However, I do appreciate your offer to forego propriety. I find the tales of your works with the railroad quite interesting and very entertaining. I suspect even Mother was surprised to learn that you are not the aimless wanderer that she supposed all railroad men to be, and one with the manners of a gentleman, no less.
Mrs. Holcomb would not be the first to make that assumption. I could assure you of that. But all who wander are not aimless or lost, for that matter. I'm just relieved the tales of my exploits do not test your capacity for boredom. I am passionate about what I do and tend to ramble on about the subject from time to time.
On the contrary, I thought it was quite intriguing. I never thought of trains in quite the manner you do.
And they're the future, Miss Holcomb. Make no doubt about that. Why, the railroad connects people and places like never before. And one day, mark my words, there'll be tracks laid down from the east coast of this country all the way to California. Imagine being able to board a train in New York City, and at the end of your journey, you'll see the Pacific Ocean.
Do you really believe such a thing would be possible? That the railroad can reach the vast mountain ranges of the West? I've heard tell they are so majestic and imposing that they make the mountains in the east look like ant mounds.
No, of course it's possible. I believe if one could imagine a thing, whatever that thing may be, they can make it happen. I intend to be part of the process that turns this dream into an actuality. All it takes to make that happen is the confidence and determination to see things through.
both of which you seem to have in abundance. You remind me a little of Baron Munchausen, Mr. Gardner.
Yeah, but the good Baron was little more than a braggart, whose tales of his exploits were mere works of fantasy. The tales of my exploits are all based in truth, with maybe just a hint of embellishment for dramatic effect.
You're familiar with the book, then? Well, I'm surprised.
Why, that a simple civil engineer can also be well read? I confess, Miss Holcomb, at this time in my life, I spend more time looking at railroad progress reports more than anything else. But I grew up in a household of women surrounded by literature. 4 older sisters have I, and all of them avid readers. The majority of conversations in our home when I was growing up centered around their newest favorite heroine. I'll have you know that I'm particularly fond of Jane Austen.
Is that so? Tell me then, which of her characters is your favorite?
Well, if I'm forced to choose just one, I think that would have to be Mr. Darby.
Mr. Darby. Is that so? I believe, if memory serves, his name was actually Mr. Darcy, was it not?
You've called my bluff, Miss Holcomb. Indeed, I know nothing of Jane Austen except what my sisters would ramble on after finishing wonderful books. Not only is she beautiful, but wise as an owl, and sharp as a hawk as well.
I suppose it's more flattering to be compared to a bird than a locomotive. I believe you said you're from Virginia. Is that correct?
That's right, Virginia.
Are you able to return home often to visit all those sisters? And is there not a Mrs. Gardner waiting patiently by the hearth for you?
Oh, I'm afraid my work schedule keeps me on the go. The time between my visits to my sisters is usually marked in years rather than months. But I have become quite adept at letter writing.
So there is no Mrs. Gardner then?
I'm surprised and flattered by your interest, Miss Holcomb.
I just simply wondered the existence of a woman who would be content to have a husband who's gone for months, even years. Could one possibly exist?
Precisely why you do not see a band of gold on my finger. May I be so impertinent as to inquire, how is it that such a lovely, intriguing young lady is lacking a wedding band herself? How is it that some young buck has not claimed you for his own by now? Forgive me, Miss Holcomb, that was most ungentlemanlike of me. I should not have pried into your private affairs. Please excuse my rudeness.
It's quite all right. No offense was taken. You might be astonished at the frequency in which I am confronted with that very question. In truth, Mr. Gardner, I have no desire to be married. As much as you enjoy your independence, I too enjoy mine. Although I don't have quite the freedom of movement as you do, I cannot board a train at a moment's notice off to begin a new adventure. I do have freedom of thought and speech. I may still be bound by the dictates of my parents, but I'm not obligated to follow any dictates of any man. A shocking and unpopular way of thinking, I know, but that's the long and short of it.
No, not so shocking. Really? Well, if you were a man.
Exactly so.
Forgive me for overstepping once again, but I feel compelled to ask, do you honestly believe that marriage has to be so confining? And what of companionship, affection, and dare I say it, love? Independence comes at a price, Miss Holcomb. It's loneliness. Believe me, I know.
I'm acquainted with several women who believe they married for love, only to discover that after wedlock that their love is not reciprocated in the manner nor to the degree they expected. So to love someone so desperately, have that love taken away. Which would be harder to bear, you think? Being lonely or heartbroken, or being lonely and heartbroken?
I believe in love, Miss Holcomb. Perhaps you find that a silly, old-fashioned notion of a man of my years who is yet a bachelor. But that's precisely why I am so. I am still searching for the woman who will capture my heart. I believed I had found her once upon a time. But now, I think I was mistaken.
In truth, Mr. Gardner, I find it rather endearing. How long will we have the pleasure of your company in our little town?
I'm afraid my schedule requires me to leave before the week is out. But I'll return before long. Perhaps you will do me the honor of accompanying me on a morning ride tomorrow, before the heat of the afternoon becomes unbearable.
It would be my pleasure. And perhaps after you leave, you will give me the opportunity to judge just how adept you are at letter writing.
That, Miss Holcomb, would be my pleasure.
I believe Lucy's debut was quite the success last night, but I must state again how disappointed I am that rooms were not made available for us at the White. I was certain our letter of recommendation from Governor Quitman would ensure us a suite in the main building at least, if not one of the cottages. That 17-mile ride from there to here, after all those festivities, was almost more than I could bear.
Accommodations here at Sweet Springs are quite agreeable. Some would say they're actually much nicer than those at the White. And fortunately, we're granted access to all the balls at the White, which is the entire reason for coming.
Now, darling, you know we came here for you as well, in the hopes that taking the cure of the spring will restore your good health and disposition.
I'm not so convinced that acting as chaperone to a 25-year-old debutante is the cure I need. But it has improved my spirits some to leave the responsibilities of home to Elkanah to manage for a change. It's disgraceful that the only means available to me to convince my husband to return home is to leave it myself.
Oh, wonderful timing, Lucinda. I was sitting here just thinking how refreshing a cool drink would be. Is Lucy still in her room?
No, ma'am. I saw her in the front lobby when I went to fetch your lemonade. She's visiting with some young ladies from Charleston, I believe.
Please tell her to join us here when she's finished.
Yes, ma'am.
I do believe Lucy surpassed all the other young ladies in appearance, poise, and popularity. So many prospects, and all from very respectable families with impeccable social standing. Lucy's bound to find one of these gentlemen agreeable.
I'm not so convinced, Mother. I believe Lucy's affections and attentions lie elsewhere.
If you are referring to Fleming Gardner, Lucy has assured me many times that they share only a friendship and a love of corresponding. Fleming Gardner has neither the financial means nor the social pedigree to be a suitable candidate for Lucy's hand, and I'm quite certain she's cognizant of that fact. What was your opinion of Charles Robertson? I thought him the most handsome of all Lucy's suitors, and she seemed quite animated while conversing with him.
Mother, Lucy would be animated conversing with a turnip if she so desired. Her degree of animation is not a good indicator of interest. She's the master of the art of animation. And I have no doubt that she'll be quite distressed at your attempts to choose her future husband without her knowledge or consent.
Pardon me, madam. I have no wish to disturb, but may I beg a moment of your time?
Oh, of course. How may I be of assistance to you?
Forgive me the lack of a proper introduction. I am Senator Francis Pickens of the great state of South Carolina. A great pleasure to meet you, Mrs. Holcomb.
Oh, and you as well, sir. May I introduce my eldest daughter, Mrs. Anna Greer?
A great pleasure indeed, Mrs. Greer. Mrs. Holcomb, I had the opportunity to dance with your daughter last evening at the ball. I can honestly say it was the highlight of my stay thus far. I was hoping to present my credentials to you so I could ask your permission to call on your lovely daughter.
Oh, indeed.
Well, pardon me, Mother, Senator Pickens, but the children require my attention, so if you will excuse me, I will take my leave. Senator, it was lovely to make your acquaintance.
Yes, Senator, I do seem to recall you being one of the many gentlemen my daughter honored with a dance. Please do sit down. How refreshing to find a gentleman of culture and breeding who honors tradition. Many young men nowadays seem to scoff at the idea of seeking parental permission before asking to court. Well, please do tell me about yourself.
Well, my parents were Susanna Smith Wilkerson and Governor Andrew Pickens. I am from a district of Edgefield, South Carolina, where my largest plantation and home, Edgefield, is located. Although I have plantations in Alabama and Mississippi as well, with several hundred slaves divided amongst them.
Oh my.
I became a lawyer under the tutelage of former Vice President and honored South Carolina statesman John Calhoun.
Gracious.
My family are devout Episcopalians and long-standing members of the Trinity Episcopal Church.
Indeed. Senator, please forgive me. I mean no offense, but I must inquire, seeing how you are older, seeing how you are more mature than most gentlemen who seek my daughter's company, I'm wondering if perhaps you've been married before.
Yes, Mrs. Holcomb, I have. Twice, actually. And unfortunately, I am twice a widower. I have 5 lovely daughters, but alas, no sons to carry on for me. At least not yet. There's still time, for I'm a man in his prime who wishes to marry again.
Oh, well, of course you do, of course.
Mother, have you ever checked with the innkeeper to see if we received any mail? Oh, excuse me. I didn't realize you were entertaining a guest.
Lucy, surely you remember Senator Pickens from last evening? He was kind enough to honor you with a dance.
Oh, believe me, the honor was all mine.
Oh, well, of course I do.
Yes.
A pleasure to see you again, Senator.
Lucy, be a dear and keep the senator here company. I'll go inquire after the man. Senator, I do so appreciate you taking the time to visit with me. You'll excuse me?
Are you enjoying your stay at the White, Senator?
Yes, thank you. It's always most agreeable. Would you like to fetch a shawl, Miss Holcomb? The night air's fixing to set in.
No, I'm quite fine, thank you.
Are you sure? I should hate for you to catch a chill on my account.
I'm fine. I have a hearty constitution.
You appear to be the most delicate of flowers to me, Miss Holcomb, one that needs to be tended to with the utmost care.
How very kind. I appreciate your concern. I believe you said you're from South Carolina. Please, tell me about your home.
Well, as I was telling your mother, so when it comes to fruit pies, then most definitely blueberry be my first choice. However, I do like a good apple pie too, but only with a crumble topping.
Well, I declare, Senator, I don't believe I've ever received a more thorough recitation of one's lineage, self-recollections, political aspirations, future dreams, loves of nature, and favorite flavor of pies.
My apologies, Miss Holcomb. I did not mean to overtire you with my lengthy dissertation. I want so desperately for you to know everything about me because, well, you see, in truth, when I saw you walk across that ballroom last night, I was mesmerized by your beauty and grace. I knew instantly that you were the woman I wanted to be my wife.
I hardly know how to respond, sir.
I have fallen hopelessly in love with you, Miss Holcomb, and want nothing more than to claim you as my bride. I have the means and position to offer you a life beyond measure, and I will devote myself entirely to ensuring that you find nothing but happiness in our life together.
I am aware of the honor you bestow on me, asking me to be your wife, However, the precipitousness of your declaration has left me unbalanced. We scarcely know one another, and the words of a wise friend are called to mind when she said, "Marry in haste, repent in leisure."
I know this is certain, but a man of my years, well, a man in his prime, such as myself, knows his heart, knows his mind. I am confident this is the right course of action for both of us. I have taken the liberty of writing a letter to your father asking his permission to marry. I beg you to say you'll deliver it to him. Perhaps, given time to know me better, you could come to love me.
Perhaps. But perhaps if you are given time to know me better, you would love me less.
But that could never be. For most assuredly, my heart is yours. Please take the letter.
I will consider your proposal, Senator Pickens. I promise I will. And you may call me Miss Lucy.
You have made me the happiest of men, dear Miss Lucy. Forgive me, I've taken too much of your time. I hope you're not overtaxed from being outside. I feel a coolness to the air. Perhaps I should escort you inside and procure a hot beverage for you to remove the chill.
I'm quite fine, thank you. I'd like to stay here and ponder my thoughts.
Of course, of course. Pray do not tarry too long, for your continued good health is of the utmost importance to me. I shall call on you again tomorrow. I bid you a good evening, my dear Miss Lucy.
Senator Pickens is quite verbose. I think he talks more than you do, Petty. Perhaps that's because he's a politician. By all accounts, he seems to be quite taken with you. I made some discreet inquiries while you were conversing. His credentials are most impressive. I found him to be charming and well-mannered, though I do find his age to be concerning. He's older than me and your father.
He seems quite amiable, though he has the most aggravating tendency to hover like a mother hen. If he had mentioned my delicate constitution one more time, I would have screamed.
He's not the only gentleman you'll meet while we're here, my dear. I'm sure you'll have plenty of younger men to choose from. It's about time to go change for dinner, so I'm going to go inside. I will see you upstairs. Oh, I almost forgot. You received a letter from Fleming Gardner. He is just a friend. Isn't he, Lucy? Mr. Gardner?
Well, of course, Mother. I'll be in directly. This is most improper, Senator Pickens, to show up unannounced without an invitation for the master of wine loosing. Who is this moment in New Orleans if I am without a chaperone as propriety demands when receiving a suitor? You have recklessly compromised my reputation without a single thought to the consequences.
Miss Lucy, it was not my intent to cause you any distress, but I have not received a definite response from you regarding my proposal, and time is running out. I have accepted the ambassadorship to Russia, and I must be there in 3 months. I have asked repeatedly that you go like a woman to your father and deliver my letter, and yet you delay. I have declared my love for you again and again, and still there is no commitment from you. I would have an answer from you before I depart tomorrow. For once I am gone, I will not return. I may leave with my heart in shreds, but leave I will.
Yes, you declared your deep, undying love for me. Yet you stand before me demanding ultimatums and chastising me as though I am a naughty child. Go like a woman. Indeed, how dare you? I have a father, sir, and I am not in need of another.
Haven't I offered you everything you profess to desire? You want status? You'll be the wife of the Russian ambassador. You want to travel? I can take you places abroad that will deeply interest and excite you. You want to socialize with royalty? I'll be walking amid marble palaces beneath gilded domes with the aristocracy of Europe. I want nothing more than to have you there beside me. You can be the shining star of the South amidst European society. So enchanting are you while they'll be clamoring for your friendship and attention. You will be the toast of Europe.
Do not think appealing to my vanity, sir, which I confess I have in abundance, will distract me from your inappropriate behavior. My mother, who believes you to be the epitome of a southern gentleman, will be shocked at this sudden turn of events.
Sweetheart, my most fervent hope had been that when you saw me again, you would recognize the sincerity of the words I have spoken and written these past months, and know with certainty that my heart is yours. That you have found fault with my attempt to finally, once and for all, gain your love as you have had mine, wounds me deeply. I'm not a young man anymore. The game of cat and mouse no longer appeals to me. I'm in love, possibly for the final time in my life. So I ask you, Miss Lucy, in the simplest terms possible, will you marry me? Yes or no?
Miss Lucy, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but Master Beverly's business acquaintance is here, and he's real impatient to talk to you.
Lucinda, what are you talking about?
That man from Virginia, Mr. Gardner, he says he has some business to settle with Master Beverly, and he's right anxious to get to it. I tried to tell him that Master Beverly's in New Orleans and that you're busy with the senator here. But Miss Lucy,
That's quite all right, Lucinda. I'm sorry. I was so flustered by the senator's unexpected arrival, I completely forgot that Mr. Gardner was supposed to come by.
Forgive me, Miss Holcomb, for just barging in, but my schedule is not that I don't have time to linger.
That's quite all right. Your presence was expected. Thank you, Lucinda. You may go.
My apologies, sir. Fleming Gardner, Virginia.
Senator Francis Pickens of South Carolina. A pleasure.
Senator, I'm afraid my attention is needed elsewhere. We can continue this discussion tomorrow, if you'd like.
That won't be necessary, Miss Holcomb. I believe I've said everything I needed to. I'll be leaving on the noon train tomorrow. I expect to have your answer by then, Mr. Gardner.
So that is the lovesick senator you've been telling me about? I guess he wasn't joking about showing up on your doorstep, was he?
Yes, that was he.
And what answer is he expecting from you tomorrow?
Whether or not I agree to marry him.
Oh, the poor old sod. He'll be heartbroken. I was expecting a much warmer welcome from my ladybird. Shall we try this again? Darling, what's wrong? Aren't you glad to see me?
Why do you think I'm going to say no to Senator Pickens?
Well, why on earth would you say yes? Lucy, if you've made anything clear to me these past few years, it's that you do not want to get married.
Yes, I suppose I've done that. And yes, I'm so glad to see you. So very glad.
Now that's better.
But don't think I've forgiven you for not writing me these past 2 months. 2 months without a letter, Fleming? I was mad with worry, not knowing if something had happened to you. Or perhaps your feelings for me had changed.
Oh, dearest ladybird, how could you even entertain such a notion? I love you more than I will ever be able to express. I'm sure the good senator is much more eloquent than I, the American soul.
Enough of the senator, Fleming! I can see that you think my predicament with him is highly amusing. But you don't understand the pressure I've been under since returning from White Sulphur Springs. Mother and father are determined to see me married. It's only a matter of time until I must choose someone, anyone. Doesn't matter who, as long as he is financially secure and has impeccable social standing. How do I tell them I've refused to even consider any marriage proposals these past 2 years? Because the man that I love, the man that I want, is Fleming Gardner.
Lucy. weighing upon you, my sweet. I just assumed you were sincere in your aversion to marriage, and I've accepted it.
I was sincere, but lately I confess, I've wondered what it would be like to be married to someone who you truly love, to be with someone who truly loves and understands you, and in truth, I find it rather appealing. I'm 25 years old, Fleming. Spinsterhood is not far off for me. And I want to know the physical side of love. It's beyond the embraces and the kisses that we share, but I cannot, no, I will not indulge in marital relations without being married.
Lucy, I love you. You know that. But you know, your parents would never consent to my marrying you. It was made clear to me that no matter how successful I am, no matter how much money or property I acquire, I will never have the social pedigree needed to be your husband.
My dearest, you know that doesn't matter to me, not with you. And I know in my heart you are a gentleman. We can run off together. We can elope.
I would never ask that of you.
Why not? What would Mother say once the ring's on my finger and the marriage certificate's in hand?
Now, Lucy, no, you deserve better than that.
What I deserve is to be with the man I love. We can go now, tonight, when my parents are in New Orleans. It's the perfect time.
Lucy, no! I will not sneak off with you like a thief in the night. Now, just put that ridiculous notion out of your head.
Don't you want to marry me?
Oh God, Lucy. Of course I do. More than anything else. I want you to be my wife. But it's not that simple.
What do you mean? Why isn't it that simple?
Can't we just forget we ever had this conversation? Haven't we been happy the way things are? Isn't loving one another enough for now? Do we really need more?
Clement, I don't understand. I thought that you wanted to...
Damn it, Lucy, I can't marry you! I'm engaged to someone else.
What are you talking about?
Oh God, Lucy, I prayed I would never have to tell you. I thought given enough time, Catherine would get tired of waiting for me. That she would give up on our engagement. And I would at last be free. And you would eventually reach a place where you wanted to marry me.
Catherine.
I don't love her, Lucy. I thought I did, until I met you. And then I realized I had no idea what love was. Not really you. You showed me what love is. Never once in all the years I've known Catherine did I ever feel this way. I was so foolish to have proposed. I know that now, but I did. And then, after I met you, I thought if I just kept delaying the wedding date, she would give up on me. But she hasn't. I can't break our engagement, Lucy. I can't do that to Catherine. She's innocent in all of this. And I can't hurt her any more than I already have.
How long? How long have you been engaged?
4 years.
4 years? 4 years? Dear God, what a fool I am!
Lucy, it's not what you think. I promise I can.
What an indescribable cad you are! How could you do this to me? How could you do this to her? For years. Years you've traveled inexcusably with both of our hearts.
Lucy, I love you.
Love me? Love me? By making me an unwitting usurper to someone else's claim on you?
Please let me explain, please.
What is there to explain? I understand quite well. You aren't mine, Fleming. You never were.
For God's sake, Lucy, please let me just talk to
I
you.
need you to leave. now.
You don't mean that. Please.
I need you to leave, and I need you to never come back. Ever.
Lucy, for God's sake, please.
Leave!
I'm so sorry, Lucy. I honestly do love you.
Lucinda! Yes, Miss Lucy? Have Uncle Needless deliver this to Senator Pickens' hotel. Now.
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Senator. Or should I be saying Ambassador?
Brother Holcomb, forgive me. I did not hear you in. I'm not officially ambassador just yet. Did you enjoy your trip to the market?
Yes, I did, though it was more crowded than usual. Mother Holcomb. Oh. I'm afraid it's going to take me a while to become accustomed to that title. Every time I hear it, I expect to see my mother-in-law.
In truth, as unaccustomed as you are to hearing Mother Holcomb, I am equally so in saying it, especially to one who's so obviously not of my years. Perhaps we could buck the system, I believe is the phrase, and go against propriety this one time. I could simply address you as Miss Eugenia, if that would be agreeable to you.
Indeed it would. Thank you, Senator. You're always so solicitous of everyone's feelings, the mark of a true gentleman. I shall miss that when you and Lucy have departed. I cannot believe how much time has passed since your wedding. Now my darling Petty will soon be heading to the other side of the world. I declare, I do not know what I shall do without her.
It will be difficult for her as well, I'm sure. Lucy holds you in such high esteem, and tend to keep her so occupied with all the wonders and delights of Europe that she won't have time to suffer homesickness.
I suppose you're anxious to return home before heading to Washington.
Oh yes, Edgefield holds a claim on my heart like no other place in the world. I look forward to your visiting us there one day. We will be returning just in time for my daughter Mariah's wedding. I would never be forgiven if I were not there to escort her down the aisle. Our youngest daughter, Jeannie, will accompany us to Washington. She's quite excited at the prospect of meeting President Buchanan.
Well, who wouldn't be? That is quite the honor for a young girl to be received at the White House. Will Jeannie have the opportunity to enjoy some of the delights in Europe before heading to school?
Oh yes, she'll accompany us to England and France before we have her settled at the boarding school in Germany. I must confess, she is most disappointed about not being able to come to Russia with us.
Oh.
But the promise of a Paris frock from Rudy LaPay has softened her disappointment.
Well, as it would mine as well.
I derive great pleasure from spoiling the women in my life. Lucy will soon find this out for herself.
Oh,
Mother! I didn't expect to see you back in the market so soon. I regret not being able to go with you this time. Dear husband. Now what is it that I'm about to find out for myself?
How adept I am at spoiling the women in my life.
And how I I do look forward to that. I've heard shopping in Paris is like no experience anywhere else. I may have to test the limits of your generosity, sir, but I am quite adept at spending money.
Lucy, don't be common, dear. Senator, please forgive me. I need to send Uncle Neelis on an errand and then finalize supper arrangements with Aunt Viney. But I would so love you both to join me this afternoon, too. Excuse me, darling.
I haven't seen you all day today, my dear. What have you been doing while I've been so diligently working on our travel arrangements?
Packing, and then some more packing with Lucinda. I declare, Francis, just when I think finally we're through, I run into something else that must go with me to Russia. I hope you're a good swimmer, for the number of trunks we had taken will surely sink the ship.
You do realize, dearest, that whatever you may need but have forgotten can be acquired in Europe. We're not going to the wilds of Africa.
Excuse me, Senator, sir. Miss Lucy, there was a letter waiting for you on the hall table.
Oh, indeed, from whom?
It's from your friend from Virginia. You met on a train, I believe. And Senator, sir, Master Beverly was looking for you. He'd like to speak with you in his study.
Well then, I shouldn't keep my father-in-law waiting, should I? What's the matter, my dear? You look pale.
I'm fine. Today's activities must have caught up with me is all.
You mustn't wear yourself out before we've even left. Traveling such a vast distance will be quite taxing on you, I'm sure. You must be strong enough to endure what lies ahead. It will be most taxing on your delicate constitution,
I'll be fine. Go on, see what Papa needs. Thank you for your discretion, Lucinda. I can't read it, Lucinda. I can't. There's nothing that he can say that would change anything. I want you to dispose of it. I'm gonna go lie down for a while. Please see that I'm not disturbed.
Yes, ma'am. My darling Ladybird, words cannot express how deeply sorry I am for having hurt you. Please believe that was never my intent. I can only pray
that one day you will find it in your heart to forgive me and to love me again. But the day I've longed for has finally arrived. I received a letter from Catherine informing me she had fallen in love and was married last month. I'm free, finally free to marry you. We can spend the rest of our lives together, and I know I can make you happy beyond measure, Lucy. No matter how long it takes, I'll be hoping and waiting. All my love always. Linda.
I did as I was told. I got rid of the letter. I never told Miss Lucy I read it. She was right. There was nothing he could say that would change anything now that Miss Lucy was married. He'd already broken her heart once, and that was enough. Senator Pickens and Miss Lucy left later that week to begin their journey to Russia, and I went with them. Oh, what an amazing time that was. Sights none of us had ever seen before and never would again. Miss Lucy, she indeed became the toast of Europe and was a favorite of the Tsar and Tsarina themselves. Some say too much a favorite of the Tsar, but that's just vicious gossip. The ambassador and Miss Lucy even lived in the Winter Palace for a while, surrounded by opulence on a scale y'all can't even imagine. Miss Lucy had a baby while in Russia, and Tsarina Marie Alexandrovna stood godmother to this child and bestowed upon her the nickname she was known by her entire life, Dushka. Lord, how I love that child. We spent 2 years in Russia. But when tensions began reaching a breaking point back home between the North and the South, the ambassador had had enough. South Carolina was calling to him. War was coming. And with it, dark days for some, glory for others, and some of both for Miss Lucy, who would come to be known as the Queen of the Confederacy. But how all that happened? Well, that's another story for another day.